We've talked a ton about Nick Chubb, but one NFL analyst believes that the Bears should sign JK Dobbins. So we're going to explore him a little bit further here on today's show. My name is Harrison Graham. Before we do that, we are so freaking close to our next milestone here on the channel. We're 32 subscribers away from 123,000 subs. If you want a second video later today, let's hit that milestone. And hey, free and daily Bears content. Let's make it happen. Hit that sub button. All right, does J.K. Dobbins make sense for the Chicago Bears? Of course, the Bears have been linked to adding a running back since the draft, as they only added one in the 7th round in Kyle Monangai, who I like, but some aren't convinced that that is enough. Dobbins and Chubb are the top two free agents. Talked about Nick Chubb quite a bit here on this channel, and an NFL Network analyst suggested that Dobbins should be the player that they target. That is Jeffri Chadiha, as he said, quote, "I'm going with the Bears for J.K. Dobbins. I know there's a buzz about Nick Chubb being that guy. I love what J.K. Dobbins brings. He has a skill set similar to what DeAndre Swift has. Ben Johnson is super creative. I like what Dobbins showed last year. First, he was able to stay healthy for a long period of time. This guy could be a difference maker. He's 27 years old. Nick Chubb is 30. That makes all the sense in the world to me for the Bears to go in this direction. Now, quite correct. Small correction here. Dobbins is 26. Chubb is 29. Both turn their next birthday in December, so he's probably making the point that by the end of the season they'll be 27 and 30. Neither here nor there. Did just want to make that clear, though. And look, J.K. Dobbins certainly had a more productive and better season than Nick Chubb last year. Nick Chubb only played in 8 games coming off that nasty multi-ligament knee injury from the year prior. J.K. Dobbins played in 13 games this past year, which is the most he's played by far since his rookie year. So for the most part, he was able to stay healthy and pretty productive, right? Over 4.5 yards per carry, over 900 yards, 9 touchdowns. Pretty darn good. Or is it a little misleading? Because the raw numbers look pretty good, right? Especially considering he wasn't like the full-time lead back with the Chargers. They had Gus Edwards and a couple of other guys rotate in. I did some digging and just kind of went, a little game log action and kind of dug in, okay, how did we get to this 905? Well, you look at his first 2 games of the year. If you remember to start last season, we're like, oh my God, J.K. Dobbins is back. You get him with the Jim Harbaugh coach team, he could be an elite runner. He was averaging 133 yards per game on only 13.5 carries per game. He was almost averaging 10 yards per carry those first 2 games of the year. He looked incredible. And then the rest of the year, he was kind of just, he was okay. He was fine. He was an average player, a rotation back, which, again, this team could use a rotation back. I'm not writing J.K. Dobbins off, but it's kind of tough of what to make of all that. The first 2 weeks, he's incredible, and the rest of the year, he's average. It's just kind of bizarre. Did he hit a super early wall, given his injury history? Is part of it the quality of opponents? I think the first 2 opponents the Chargers had were the Raiders and Panthers, so 2 very easy opponents for the Chargers last year. Then it got tougher. Like I said, that injury history, did that play a role? Did he start to get heavy legs, tired legs? I don't know. The Chargers' O-line play was inconsistent last year. On paper, it's pretty good, but they had some injuries. I think PFF ranked them the 21st best unit in the NFL last year. So, average to below average if you add up the entire season. And I do want to make this point, too. If Jim Harbaugh wanted J.K. Dobbins back, he would be back. Now, I know they put a rare unrestricted tender on him after the draft, but that's mostly just if he signs elsewhere, they still can potentially benefit in the draft comp pick formula for next year. It's like $3.2 million, so they kind of figure, okay, if no one else signs him, we'll keep him at that cost. But they signed Najee Harris and gave him, I think, $7-8 million. They drafted Amarian Hampton in the first round. They don't view J.K. Dobbins as a premier back. And if they did, he'd be back. Why? Because Jim Harbaugh is the coach and he loves running backs. So I do just want to point that out. Doesn't mean he can't come to the Bears. Doesn't mean he can't be good in a Ben Johnson offense. But I do think that's notable. I value Jim Harbaugh's kind of eye when it comes to evaluating talent, and they have not made J.K. Dobbins a priority this offseason whatsoever. Now, we've talked about both of these guys, and we'll continue to as long as they're out there and being linked to the Bears. Right now, you have to pick who would you rather sign. Type NC for Nick Chubb, JK for JK Dobbins. Both bring different things to the tables. Both have injury concerns, especially recently when it comes to Chubb. NC for Chubb or JK for JK Dobbins. Speaking of that injury history for JK, it is a long one. I mean, it goes back to 2016 in high school. He fractured his fibula, and it hasn't really gone away from there. He nasty high ankle sprain at Ohio State in 2019. And then in 2021, I think that's really what has set him back ever since. All four of these injuries occurred at once. He tore his thigh hamstring, his LCR, his meniscus, and his ACL. Just a brutal injury. I mean, probably worse than the injury Chubb suffered a couple of years ago. Then he comes back after missing all of 2022, and he tears his Achilles. And then last year, again, he stayed mostly healthy, but he did sprain his MCL and missed a month. So even in a year when he was mostly healthy, he still missed 4 games. Like that's a quarter of the season almost. I mean, you look at his career, like he's missed more games than he's played in, right? The last 4 years is a possibility of 68 games. His first year, 16 games. So you do quick math, 84 games that he could have potentially played in since he's been in the league, and he's played in 23 plus 1, 24, 13, 37 of 84 career games. It's less than half. Less than half. And yes, last year was a positive step. He played in 13 games. He was inconsistent throughout the season after starting hot, but he showed he can still play in this league. But chances are he is basically guaranteed to miss some time. Now, I think you can live with that if he's going to miss, he's going to miss 3 to 6 games. Okay, I still think that's a player worth signing for a cheap contract. But he could miss 12. Like, his ligaments clearly are capable of tearing. And it's one of those deals where you suffer a couple of major injuries, you're just more susceptible to other injuries because the rest of your body kind of makes up for those injuries that you have elsewhere on your body. So it's one of those tough deals. I like JK. I'm not against the idea, but we do have to point these things out. Harbaugh didn't exactly want to bring him back. He had a great first couple of games, and then he was pretty average. And quite frankly, they were giving carries elsewhere in certain games. He has an extensive injury history. So I do want to just kind of outline these facts that can't be disputed when it comes to J.K. Dobbins. Just because he's 26 years old, he's kind of an old 26 when you factor in the injuries. All right, coming up next, let's dissect Dobbins a little bit further, plus Nick Chubb, and kind of balance it all out with the Bears' current RB room. Are they upgrades over what Chicago currently has on their roster? We'll dive into that as well. But first, I do want to tell you guys about today's sponsor, and that, of course, is Rocket Money. Head over to rocketmoney.com/Bears now to get started today. It's a personal finance app that can help you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions and do a whole lot of other things. You can lower your bills by up to 20%, manage your budget, and stay on top of it with Rocket Money as well. It's so easy to just have your expenses add up. Maybe it's that daily coffee habit. Maybe it's streaming services that you don't even use anymore. Whatever it is, Rocket Money is going to help you ditch those bad habits and get you to a place where you're building your savings. They've done that with myself and my wife over the past almost 2 years now since I've been going with Rocket Money, and I've saved a bunch of money. And listen, it's critical, especially if you have a house payment like I do. If you have, child care to pay for, those bills are not cheap. So you really want to be specific on what you're willing to spend on a month-to-month basis. So check out Rocket Money today, rocketmoney.com/Bears now. They have over 5 million users and have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 per year when they use all of the app's premium features. So get started today. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions. Reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. It's rocketmoney.com/Bears now. Rocketmoney.com/Bears now. Link in the comments and description. Use our link to support the show. Rocketmoney.com/Bears now. Okay, what about Nick Chubb? So would Nick Chubb or J.K. Dobbins be a better signing for the Bears? We've talked about Chubb a few times now as he's been linked to Chicago. Doesn't sound like a reunion in Cleveland is going to happen. Obviously, it's been a tough couple of years, right? 21, 22, a couple of big-time years. He was starting 2023. terrific with over 6 yards per carry there. And then he has the catastrophic injury. I think it was an ACL, MCL, and a couple other things in there as well. It was nasty. And last year, he looked a step slow, right? I thought his last couple of games, he started to kind of get going again, but then he broke his foot as well. So all of a sudden now injuries are piling up for Nick Chubb. It's not as extensive as JK Dobbins, but he's older. He's got more mileage on the legs. They're all valid things to point out when it comes to Nick Chubb. So let's kind of look at a few bullet points for each player. Would you rather go with Nick Chubb? I still think the upside is higher with Chubb. I don't think you're getting peak Nick Chubb, but I think 80% of Nick Chubb is probably better than the current version of JK Dobbins. So if you think he can get to that level, that's a higher upside value play for Chicago. I think the skill set meshes better with Swift. I agree with Chadiha, who said earlier Dobbins' skill set is similar to Swift. Now, they're not clone players, but similar build. Out in space, they can go. I think Swift has more burst, especially at this point, given Dobbins' injury, but they can both catch the ball. Whereas Chubb, more physical player, better vision runner, lets his blocks develop. I think that stylistically would mesh better with Swift to give you a different look at running back. And then even though he's had a lot of injuries the last couple of years, less career injuries. I mean, Dobbins' injury history goes back almost 10 years. Okay, JK Dobbins, he was healthier last season, better last season. That's a positive. He is a better pass catcher, which we know Ben Johnson values. But again, is it a little over redundant with Swift? Not necessarily. I think there's enough stylistic difference, but he can give you some juice in the pass game. And he's likely, I am not on a practice field where I can test these guys out. I would say he's probably got a little more juice than Nick Chubb, like out in space. Whereas Chubb, the goal with him would be, okay, between the tackles, be a patient runner. You're not going to run away from defenders at this point in your career, whereas Dobbins on occasion might still be able to give you a little bit of that. So you look at this room and where things sit. DeAndre Swift, who the Bears have spoken highly of, Ben Johnson is eager to reunite with, clearly seems poised to be the RB1 unless a surprise move happens. And even if they sign one of these guys, I still would bet Swift, at least to start the year, is the lead runner, but it would be more of a 1-2 punch ideally. And then you got the rest of the crew. Roschon Johnson, Kyle Monangai, who we're all intrigued with. Travis Homer is really just a special teamer. And then Ian Wheeler. The question you got to ask yourself is twofold. One, is one of Chubb or both, Chubb and JK Dobbins, are they an upgrade over your running backs not named DeAndre Swift? It's probably a tough question to answer without getting them on your practice field and working them out. Number two, what do the medicals look like? Especially with Chubb. I think with Dobbins, it's not going to be super clean. And chances are he's going to miss time. But with Chubb, do you feel like, okay, had the major injury a couple years ago, the foot thing last year, like, are those somewhat anomalies, or is this who he is now? Like, is he going to miss time moving forward? I think those are questions you would want answered if you brought these guys in. Let's take a look at the offseason schedule coming up. So you got rookie minicamp this week, and you'll get a little early look at Kyle Monangai, obviously not against current players on the roster other than fellow rookies, but okay, let's see how he looks. I don't think Monangai is going to be a T-shirt and shorts warrior. He's not a great athlete. He really shines when the pads go on, so I don't know if you can get a full evaluation until training camp, but you at least get an early look there. Obviously, OTAs, you'll get to see him along with Roschon, the rest of the crew, once the veterans are back in the building. Mandatory minicamp's a big one there in early June, and then you got that final OTA period. I think this is where I'm at with the running back situation. Let's get through mandatory minicamp and reevaluate. If you want to bring in Chubb or Dobbins for a workout between now and then, that's cool. I probably would not make a signing for either unless it's just dirt cheap or they blow you away at the workout. Let's see how these other guys do. How does Roschon Johnson look coming into year 3? Is Kyle Monangai a player they think can help right away? And if they feel good about that unit, then maybe you just go into training camp with what you got, and then you revisit after a preseason game or two. Because, look, could Chubb or JK get signed? Yeah, but, are you so terrified about them getting signed that you feel like you have to do it now? I think if they were, they would have signed one by now, right? We're well over a week since the draft has ended. I don't think teams are just begging to sign Nick Chubb and JK Dobbins right now. And even if they are, there's always guys available. There will be cuts elsewhere. You can always make a minor trade. I think you get through the next month or so, and then you reevaluate. And if you feel good about what you currently have, go into camp with what you currently have. You have enough bodies. It's just about once the season gets here, do you have 2 at least guys that you feel good about on Sundays, if not 3? If the answer is yes, you probably roll with what you got. If you don't, you're going to end up adding someone between now and week 1. And again, at some point in this process, if you don't feel great about what you have, bring in JK, bring in Nick Chubb. Hell, bring them in on the same day. Hey, we're going to work both you guys out. Whoever looks better, that's who we're making an offer to. Like, crank up the heat on the competition. That's been a theme from Ben Johnson all offseason. Okay, fill in the blank. Here's a fun question. The Bears' 1-2 punch at running back this year will be DeAndre Swift and blank. Will it be Roschon Johnson? Will it be Kyle Monungai? Will it be Nick Chubb, JK Dobbins, or someone else via trade like a Zach Charbonnet or a Kenneth Walker? Fill in the blank. 1-2 punch, DeAndre Swift plus blank. And let us know who you think that player is. My name is Harrison Graham. Again, we are 32 subscribers away from 123,000 on the channel. Round of applause to all of you. If we hit that number, we're back with a second video later today. So hopefully we'll see you then. Bear down.